looking for professional quality supplementation at rock bottom prices? At TrueNutrition.com, we skip the fancy marketing gimmicks and focus on quality and value. In addition to offering the highest quality bodybuilding supplements at the lowest prices, we also offer the world's largest selection of custom protein powder blends, and all of our products are third-party verified. True Nutrition lets you create custom protein blends based on your goals, lifestyle, diet, and taste, with over 60 types of powders, flavors, and performance boosts to choose from. You're not like everyone else, and with our 18 billion possible combinations, you don't have to be. We offer the same level of customization for our delicious oatmeal blends as well, allowing you to choose oats, fruits, nuts, seeds, and more so that your functional nutrition is never boring. Use code HANSEN at checkout for big savings this month and join the thousands of other bodybuilders and athletes who have discovered TrueNutrition.com. What's going to be in your mix?
Welcome to Opus Health, Tampa Bay's elite medical center, where we offer dental, vision, primary care, urgent care, alternative medicine, IV therapy, and more to come. Along with wellness, weight loss, hormone replacement therapy. We are open 7 days a week. You can reach us at 813-906-6737 or opushealth.org. We are located at 912 Channelside Drive in Tampa, Florida. You can book online or email us with any questions.
If you're working hard to achieve your physical best, you need the optimum level of nutrients to reach your peak performance. When nutrients go missing, so does your ability to have a productive day. Balanced Body Labs has an easy-to-use at-home test to help detect your nutrient levels. We recommend our Balance Pro vitamin testing service for endurance athletes, Balance Perform services for those training for a competition, and Balance Weight Control for those trying to reach their goal weight. In just 4 easy steps, we will know which supplements your body is lacking. Choose your test, take the sample, mail it in, and log in for results.
Hi, I'm Aaron Reed, Super League Pro, author of The Supernatural Lifestyle, 9-time NPC champ. One of the wonderful things I like about Balanced Body Labs is measuring kit. I'm able to measure my micronutrients, which I've never been able to do before. So I can find out what I'm depleted in terms of my vitamins, amino acids, even testosterone, lactic acid, cortisol levels, things like that, to help me really key in what I'm doing with my diet when I'm getting ready for a bodybuilding competition or, a performance competition with the Super League.
If you don't know what nutrients your body requires most, you won't be able to perform at peak levels. Balanced Body Labs will get you there. Order our online test kit today.
Some people were saying that you were going to be like just a one-time Mr. Olympia too, right? And didn't that sort of motivate you for 93?
It was the first time, because the contest was held in Finland. That means some people were probably not there from the States that would normally be there. So there was that. And it was held in Finland, and I'm European. I've never been to Finland before, by the way. I don't speak the language. I speak the same language as American. But, there was that thing that I'm European. It's in Europe.
Yeah.
And Lee Haney's retired. So this guy's won. But next year, surely Levrone or Flex Wheeler, who's just coming up, one of the Americans will win it, because I was the first European to win it. So I think there was that, and I'm like, you haven't got it right, guys. You don't not understand yet, Yeah. You will understand next time. It'll be more outright next time. So
wasn't it true you hung up the poster of the 93 Olympia in your gym and you said you can kiss my ass or something?
Well, the first time I won the Mr. Olympia 92, there was a picture lap spread with the medal and the trophy and everything. Because you know how it is, wherever you're from, man, it's like people are not going to appreciate you, or they think just because somebody's from somewhere else, they must be better, or or maybe they're jealous. They don't want to, they don't want to see somebody from the same circumstances as them being successful, because then they have to reflect on their lack of achievement. And there's a lot of reasons, man, but there's always people that, saying you can't do it. So I always use that as motivation. So it was like, to all the non-believers, now you can kiss my ass. And that was on the wall of the gym.
One thing I forgot to ask you about '92 also was the return of Lou Ferrigno. Were you thinking about him at all as you were getting ready for the show?
Not really. I know Joe really wanted him to win, but unlike people think that Joe Weider had some kind of influence on the Mr. Olympia contest. I don't know about the past before I was there because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, at least in the period of the '90s and so on, Joe Weider had absolutely zero influence on the contest. There are other people running it, other people judging it, and so he's just a figurehead. But he would have liked Lou because Lou would be, hugely marketable.
Yeah.
And so Joe was kind of pushing Lou to win, and there was some interviews in the magazine beforehand. What interviewing all the Mr. Olympia contest competitors, what do they think about Lou Ferrigno coming back and everything. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said, for me, it's not an issue.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to realize that this is not a movie, it's not TV, it's real, Right. So, yeah, Lou looked great, though. I mean, he looked better than, back in the 70s and stuff. So,
yeah, he was big.
He kept up with the times, with the training and the diet and everything. But I think it was 12th or 13th place.
Yeah.
That was a good comeback for him, but the sport had moved on, and the standard of the physique's obviously much higher than when he competed. So even though he took a stride forward, it wasn't enough to catch the guys in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. So then '93, like you said, that was your big improvement. You were 15 or 17 pounds heavier. And what were you thinking about Flex Wheeler? Because he had won the Arnold that year, and he had a lot of hype. Because as the new pro with the great aesthetics.
Yeah, well, I really like Flex physique, the balance and the muscle shapes and everything like that. But I kind of thought the outcome would be what it was. Because I would overpower him with size and density. A lot of people that look at pictures and videos. There's something about my physique that probably doesn't show up very well there. You have to see it live.
Yeah.
And that's not just the volume of the muscle. You can have volume, but it's the density of the muscle. So even if someone was the same size next to me, they didn't look as impressive because they didn't have that certain look of density, which came from consistently training very heavy.
Yeah.
So I thought I would beat Flex on size and density. And I thought that I would definitely beat him on conditioning as well.
Yeah.
Although at the Arnold Classic, his conditioning was very good. But I got to know Flex a little bit. I knew he was quite emotional, not very, I don't know if balance is the right word, probably not the right word, but, focused. Focused, and, he had a lot of things distract him and so on. So I felt they'd probably have a hard time duplicating that Arnold condition for the Olympia, because it's only 6 months later. It's quite a tricky time period, and he was on the road and stuff like that. So, and I'd made such improvements that I just felt really confident going into the contest. Nobody can touch this. I knew that from when I guest posed in New York for Steve and Bev Francis at the show there. I think it was 7 weeks out or 8 weeks out, and everybody just freaked. They'd never seen anything like it. So, and people were there, that judges and so on. So it was good opinions that everyone was like, "This is no one can touch this now."
I think those pictures too in Flex magazine, which I think was the December issue, but it came out before the Olympia. I think that freaked everybody out when they saw those pictures of the gym.
It freaked everybody out, and it wasn't my intention. It wasn't even my intention that those photos would be published.
Yeah.
It's just that I had a set of photos taken in the gym the year before, and I asked Kevin to come down and take the same photos in the same place in the gym. So I had some professional photographs in order to compare, the two conditions. A little bit misleading because the 92 photos are taken after the contest.
Oh, okay.
When I've lost size and I've smoothed out a little bit after a few days.
Yeah.
So if I had photos that were taken 7 or 8 weeks before the 92 and compared them to the black and white ones from 93,
right,
it'd be a huge difference, yeah? But it was very dramatic because one was kind of depleted and one was like middle of the contest prep, so it's still very full and everything.
Yeah.
So it just for me, which explains where I'm wearing my underwear and my socks.
Yeah.
Because they weren't meant for a magazine. But Kevin Horton, that took the pictures, sent copies to Peter McGough, and Peter McGough was working at Flex, so Peter got them in the magazine. But before he put them in the magazine, he had them in his drawer, in his desk.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, everybody used to visit the office, Flex, Sean, Paul Dillette,
yeah,
Chris Cormier, all these guys up to the office just to hang out and bullshit and stuff. So he said, you know, when the guys came in, I'd very casually, you know, he said, first of all, he said I'd wait because I knew they'd ask about you because they know we're friends. So they're going to ask about you, right? So he'll just wait. Oh, how's Dorian doing? How's he doing training? Oh, yeah, he's good. Yeah, his training's going really well. Actually, I got some recent pictures if you'd like to look. So they're like, yeah. And then, boom, they'd land on the table and their face would go. Yeah, I think everybody was like kind of competing for second in their mind.
Yeah.
By the time we got there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you looked incredible in 93. I don't think there was any contest with anyone else, you know, at all.
This year for this contest, I'm training even less. I'm probably doing a total of maybe 3.5 hours a week in the gym of actual weight training, and some of my competitors are doing probably that much every day, you know, and I think that's really to my advantage. You know, not only have I got the genetics for the sport, I'm also training efficiently, so I'm able to progress all the time. I really see bodybuilding from a different point of view from some of the other people that are involved in it. I believe, you know, it's 100% a sport, and that's the way I look at it, and I'm an athlete, and I'm trying to achieve the best as I can as an athlete, and I'm not really interested in the glamour and the glitz and everything. You know, I don't believe that I'm a superstar, and I'm going to Hollywood and any of that kind of stuff. You know, I just see myself as a regular guy, a bodybuilder like anybody else. You know, I just happen to be a little bit better at this point in time.
257 pounds of hardcore muscle. From England, the reigning Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates.
No, that was, I mean, clear. I think I didn't even get a call out.
Yeah.
In the second round.
Yeah.
So people said, how do you feel? You didn't even get a call out. I said, how did I feel? I said, I felt like I'm either dead last or I'm definitely first. So I'm not fucking last, am I? So I said, I don't mind. You know, I did the hard work all year round, so I don't mind. I have to work hard on stage. It's okay, you know?
Yeah.
Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn facing front. Front double bicep. Lat spread. Side chest. Turn to the rear. One leg back showing the calf. Double bicep. Lat spread. Side tricep. Turn to the front, abdominal and thigh. Gentlemen, relax. And if the music man's ready, pose down.
Excuse me, Shunny. Do you know where I can find some booty?
The second place certificate being presented by Jim Horn of American Bodybuilding Products. The silver Mr. Olympia medal being given by Ruth Moss of Egg Beaters. And the silver Sandow medal being given by George Shahuni of Powerhouse. And they will take those awards and give it to this year's runner-up, Flex Wheeler. first place for the second year in a row, from England, Dorian Yates. The first presentation, the check of $100,000 being given by IFPD President Ben Weeders.
So let's talk about '94 now, because that was different. You were really put to the test.
Absolutely.
I think you had a rotator cuff injury earlier in the year, right? And then a leg injury, and then of course the bicep.
Yeah, you know, I remember Steve Weinberg, because I used to train with Steve, you know, after I won the '93 contest. And Steve said in his, you know, very New York way that, you know, just stop this fucking heavy training now, man. Like, you know, just hold it and chisel. And I like, actually, it was good advice, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to. That's what got me there, and I wanted to continue doing it, and I wanted to push and see if I could do more, man. Like, why stop now, you know? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I started to get a couple of injuries, and once you got one or two, unless you really back off and deal with them over a period of time, it's like your body's a piece of chain, you know?
Yeah.
Now you've got a link that's damaged somewhere, and it just like fucking goes down the chain. You see it often with bodybuilders. They get one injury, and then it just like, you know, boom, 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 they start getting various injuries.
Right.
So I think from all the heavy pressing that I did, especially I used to do the heavy pressing on a Smith machine, which I know now is not really a good idea because you're forcing your joints through an unnatural plane of movement with heavy weights. So I did a lot of incline presses on the Smith machine just because my upper chest was weak, and that was like really isolated and worked for me.
Yeah.
Well, over a period of time, I think it was damaging my rotor cuff, and that was causing my shoulder to slightly rotate forward. And then I was doing the undergrip rows, which means you got to supinate. And I noticed when I was grabbing the bar, the left it was kind of awkward to get my left hand on there. So that was putting extra tension on the bicep, I guess. And
so the bicep and the shoulder were the same arm then, huh?
The same arm. The bicep, tricep, and shoulder is all on one arm.
Wow. Okay.
I guess I can trace it all back to the shoulder.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. You know, it all starts in one place. And even the shoulder, with what I know now, can be traced right back down the line to the opposite hip.
Oh, no kidding.
The opposite hip is connected to the shoulder. So I just learned that recently from somebody I've been working with. So, you know, 10 years later from the squat injury, I get a shoulder injury, and it's all kind of related.
Yeah.
Although, you know, let's be fair, it wouldn't happen unless I'm putting my body under extreme stress.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm saying I'm doing reverse bent over rows, I was rowing 440 6 weeks out from Mr. Olympia.
Wow.
And, you know, now I know it wasn't necessary. I could have been rowing 300 or 350 and just squeezing it and concentrating on maintaining at that point because I had the size.
Yeah.
So what's the point to train with those super heavy weights, which you need to build size, when you've already got the size and now you don't have even sufficient calories to build anything anyway? So you just shift your weight training to maintenance. And let's use diet and some increased cardio activity to lose the fat and the weight and just concentrate on maintaining. You know, which is what they used to do back in the old day, I guess. Arnold and those guys, they trained pretty light, just fast in a lot of sets just to burn. Because they already built the size in the off season.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, you know, people say, well, you know, do you still like stand by your training system because you got injured? I'm like, absolutely. If you want to build muscle mass, it's the quickest, most efficient system you can have. What was my application of it? Trying to do kind of training in a contest phase when I was tired and I was probably slightly dehydrated and I didn't have a lot of body fat and I wasn't sleeping properly and all those things that you get coming into a contest. And maintaining, you don't need. Maintaining is quite easy. I see people do it all the time when I go to the gym.
Yeah.
Every time you go in the gym, that guy's maintaining. You go back and it look exactly the same.
Right? I see that too. So what were your thoughts, Dorian, when you did tear that bicep? And I saw the pictures where it was all black and blue. I mean, did you think that was it? You were out that year?
Absolutely. Like, I fucking did this, you know, to the max. I've dedicated my life to this. I've lived like a monk. I've sacrificed a lot to do this. And now I got there. Not only have I got there, I've got there and like better than anyone ever, basically, and clearest winner ever. Got, you know, wow, you can win 6, 8, whatever you want now, yeah? And now it looks like my whole career is over in one moment.
Yeah.
And man, I was sick to my stomach, not only from the physical pain, but from the emotional pain. The realization of it, the fucking situation, you know? So it was like that for really, you know, until my, you know, my positivity kicked in. I was like, hold on, listen, let's see what we can do here. Before we throw the towel in and like decide not to compete and just go eat a bunch of pizzas and drink beer and like cry yourself to sleep.
Yeah.
Before you do that and it's all over, why don't you see what you can do? Because it's 6 weeks before the contest. Maybe somehow you can heal the injury. Maybe, you know, you can train, but you might have to train around it, and you can keep doing the diet, and you're in good shape. So you can always throw the towel in 2 days before the contest if you want. If you're like, fuck, man, look, I tried, but not good enough, and I can't do it, and that's it. But if I didn't try, there always would be that voice about, what about if you fucking tried, man? Maybe you could have done it. So I wasn't really confident that I was going to do the contest until probably like a couple of weeks out.
Wow.
You know, and I was still a little bit bruised, and obviously the bicep was, you know, it tore. I hadn't detached the tendon or anything, but it tore the belly of the muscle. So now it's much shorter.
Okay.
And the question is like, how visible is that? How is it going to affect you? Front double bicep, you know, you're screwed, right?
Yeah.
You know, that pose is fucked now.
Right.
But actually, it's not visible in any of the other poses.
Right.
So it's not visible in any of the quarter turns. It's not visible in any of the 6 compulsory poses. So you're going to lose the double bicep to everybody. If you want. Worst case scenario, you lose to everybody in the contest, double bicep.
Yeah.
But what about the other poses? If I'm in shape, I know there's some poses I cannot be beaten on. You know? Certainly front lat spread, back lat spread, and also side tricep, very difficult because I don't have the best triceps, but if you look at the thing as a whole, with the cuffs and the hamstrings and the intercostals, everything, it's a hard one to beat. Also, Flex was not there because Flex had been in a car accident.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and was Kevin there? I can't even remember.
Yeah, Kevin took, I think, fourth.
Okay.
No,
so
fifth.
Kevin was probably a bit off.
No, I'm sorry, he took third. He took third.
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't really worried going into the contest at that point. And then the night before, I thought it was looking great. The morning of the contest, I had some kind of indigestion, stomach bloating, and I don't even know what happened. I really don't. But I could see in the mirror backstage it was starting to hold water. So at the prejudging was definitely, you know, not only the bicep, my stomach was a bit bloated. I looked a bit watery. Could have been a reaction to something I ate, or, you know.
Yeah.
In a normal day, in normal condition, with a normal person, you know, what the fuck? It doesn't make any difference in your physique in the mirror, of course. But if like super in shape and you're dehydrated, you just hold a little bit of water, you know.
Yeah.
Can make a difference. So, but in the night show, after all the sweating and everything like that, I was looking better. So yeah, I you know, to this day, I say the closest contest I had was 97 with Nasser. That was close. Sean thinks 94 is close, but I don't. So
yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought of Sean's comments after the contest, because he thought he had it.
Yeah, he still thinks that. He still, but it is what it is, man. It's like Sean was looking good, but Dorian was like whatever.
Yeah.
So I was 10% off. Still, you know, still a good big guy and a good little guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not an even match, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that, Sean, but you were born small.
And as he comes on to the Olympia stage, he says, "This is my house." Dorian from Birmingham, England. He won the Mr. O in 92 and 93, out to three-peat right here.
Dorian just keeps getting bigger and bigger and more muscular every year, and we wonder where it's going to stop. I think it may stop here. I don't see how anybody can get any bigger than he is now. Dorian is 300 pounds in the off-season, 262 for this event.
This is the man that they've come from around the world to see. Very popular. And very, very big. Trains in his own gym on Temple Street in Birmingham, England. Frank, they tell me it's a dark, dingy hole.
That's Dorian's style of training. Really heavy weights, forced repetitions. That's why he's so big. But it's also a very dangerous way to train. And the proof of that, of course, is the torn left bicep. And you can see some atrophy on that left side. Now the question is, will it cost him tonight?
You can hear the fans responding to Dorian. His book on bodybuilding is called Blood and Guts.
That's a good indication of just the way he trains. There's that famous back shot he's so well known for. It's a better routine I've seen from Dorian in a long time. He's put more into his posing this year, and it looks like it may pay off for him. Mountain of muscle. Now this is something new to Dorian's routine. I think he realizes he has to do more than just the regular stock poses that he's been so well known for in the past. Now there's some power right there. You know, he walks and moves like he owns the stage, and you can bet he does.
Like I said, he's saying, this is my house, my stage.
Well, you have to believe that yourself before you can convince anyone else. Dorian knows that better than anybody. He sure knows how to act like the winner. He's had 2 years experience doing that, so there you see that torn left bicep. Doing a nice job here. You know, Dorian doesn't make any attempt to hide that torn bicep either. He does his poses straight on as always.
Dorian Yates, the defending Mr. Olympia.
Dorian, that was a great performance. I watched it last year, and your posing seems to be a lot more elaborate. You must have worked on it really hard.
Yeah, I've been working on it, and it's all a matter of experience. You know, when I first came to the professionals, I was relatively unexperienced. I hadn't really been in that many competitions, so it's just a matter of a learning process and becoming more confident on stage and becoming more comfortable with it. You know, initially I really saw myself as an athlete, and I wasn't really comfortable with the performing aspect of it, but I'm getting there.
Well, you've put on some more muscle, you're bigger, you're just as muscular as ever, and your performance has improved. How do you feel about winning tonight for the third time?
I feel really good. I mean, the victory this year is really sweet because a lot of people don't know I had some really serious problems this year with injuries and everything, and there was a couple of times when I really thought that I wasn't going to make it to the competition, and it's a blessing just to make it here and to win the competition on top of that is, I feel very, very lucky.
Well, that's great. You're a great champion. I wish you all the luck in the outcome.
Looking at the top 3 bodybuilders in the world right now.
In third place, a check of $30,000 and a plaque being given by Dr. Scott Connolly of Metrics. The certificate being given by Brad Kopchenko of California Bodywear. The bronze Mr. Olympia medal being given by Jeff Bielik of Valio. And the bronze Sandow medal being given by Jeff Rhodes of Universal Supplements. These awards will be presented to competitor number 8, Kevin Levrone.
Oh, he's disappointed with that one. And so are his fans.
It's actually a step up for him from a year ago. He was 5th, now number 3. No, he doesn't look too happy.
No, he's not. But you can bet he'll be back. He's a young guy with a big future in bodybuilding, and he knows it.
It's going to be tough to knock off Dorian now or anytime soon, I would think. What would he have to do?
It's a good question. It's really hard to see in some cases how some of these guys can improve. They're so good already.
Well, Sean must be wondering just that right now. Do I have it? Or does Dorian's reign continue?
Still a showman, still asking for more flowers. There's that smile.
And he's thanking his fans, Frank, and there are a lot of them.
And now the big moment. Who will it be?
In second place, a check of $50,000 being presented by Lonnie Willard of Egg Beaters. The second place certificate being given by Dave Van Every of King's Fitness. The silver Mr. Olympia medal being given by Steve Ward of Champion Nutrition. The silver Sandow medal being given by Gentle Doche of Pro Fitness USA. And the second place plaque being given by Ray Boudreau of Body Masters. These awards will be given to competitor number 7, Sean Ray.
And Dorian Yates is Mr. Olympia again, a 3-peat. Dorian does it.
Well, he was pushed hard all the way. There's Sean. He's disappointed, but you can bet he'll be back. He's a young guy, and he's got a lot of good years ahead of him.
Sean 3rd last year, number 2 this year. And Dorian does it again.
The question on my mind is, will Dorian be back after that severe injury he's had? Will he be able to make it back, use those heavy weights again?
Dorian grew up on a farm, says hard work is ingrained in him because of that. You know he'll be back, and you know he'll be bigger. Getting congratulations now from Sean Ray, and he's hearing it from his fans. Looks relieved that it's over as well.
Well, he's won $50,000 too.
And for the 3rd straight year, the winner of Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates.
There is one relieved champion. For all he's been through this year with the injury and the closeness of this contest, he is one happy bodybuilder.
The check of $100,000 being presented by Ben Weider and Rafael Santoka of the IFBB. And the Sandow statue being presented by Joe Weider.
Joe Weider coming onto the stage. He's got the trophy for Dorian Yates. Ben Weider right behind him.
Dorian's third Olympia statue. $100,000. He's got to be the biggest thrill of his life.
Well, he owns the O. He's won it 3 years in a row. Dorian Yates from Birmingham, England.
So now the next year, 95, that was kind of a redemption year for you because you changed up your training a little bit too, right, Dorian? You changed the overhand grip on that.
On machines. I got a deal with Hammer Strength, and they supplied me with, shipped over a lot of machines from Hammer Strength from the States to my gym in UK.
Okay.
And was using a lot more Hammer Strength for chest, to kind of work a little bit around the shoulder.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad at that point, but I knew something was going on. I used to do a lot of very heavy decline presses, up to like 500, doing like 8 reps and stuff with 500, and I couldn't do that anymore. So I started working on incline and the hammer bench press and flies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of compromising a little bit with what I used to do in the past because I had injuries. But at that was I had no choice, and it was a smart thing to do. So. Still training heavy like a crazy animal, but a bit more machine work in there, and trying to avoid making this injury worse. So I really like the hammer machines for that because I could work heavy and it was controlled.
Yeah. So 95, I think that was pretty much a slam dunk. I don't think anyone was close to you on that year, and that had to feel good coming back from the bad year in 94, right?
Yeah, the kind of redemption. Because the bicep tear, and you tear a muscle 6 weeks before a contest. Who knows what kind of stress that puts on your system as well. 95, I was good. I wasn't fighting any injuries. Training was going good. Very happy with that.
Mr. Olympia, we are in Atlanta, Georgia, and here is the pre-judging.
Dorian Yates in the center.
First call-outs. Dorian Yates, our champion, comes to center stage. Our first look at King Dorian. Sean Ray, last year's runner-up.
On the other.
And Kevin Levrone from Maryland.
Well, this could be the call-out for the top 3, Joe.
Levrone, Yates, the 3-time champion, and Sean Ray, desperately seeking his first Mr. Olympia title.
They're all in such good shape, too.
To the right.
For those of you not familiar with bodybuilding, this is the pre-judging, where the judges take their initial look at the contestants. Of course, later in our coverage, we will have the full routines from the top contestants. What do you see right here, Frank, with the top 3?
A lot of muscle. Yates has improved. He's harder than last year. Levrone is, and Sean Ray is too. They're all better than before.
I'd have to agree. The top 3 called out there better than last year. And now coming down to the stage is Nasser El Sonbaty, casting his own shadow.
Here's the biggest guy alive in bodybuilding competition, 270 pounds, and he is a monster. He's a nice guy, but physique is monstrous.
Well, they give Dorian the nickname the Shadow because he casts a shadow over everyone, but Nasser...
Quarter turn to the right.
...is huge. You are right.
Nasser is a good 10, 12 pounds bigger than Dorian, but look at that back on Dorian.
Quarter turn to the right.
What a bunch of muscle he has.
Kevin Levrone, very popular East Coast bodybuilder, known for his intense workouts. And of course, Dorian, a year ago, he had a number of injuries. We will get into all of that later on, but it looks like He's much better than last year. And now the last two call-outs. Nasser and Dorian side by side.
Nasser looks tremendous standing there. He's got his abs flexed and everything tense. It's really a strong position for him.
Here's a man who is not considered to be in the top 5 coming in amongst the experts, but right away within the first few minutes of prejudging, he's right there with King Dorian.
Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn facing front.
Two giants.
Gentlemen, back in line, please.
Dorian stays back, does a few poses. And now Nasser comes back. It's turning into a pose down already.
And here comes Kevin Levrone and Sean Ray.
No doubt every one of these guys thinks they have a shot at the title, and that's why all 4 of them are there posing. Nobody else came by, just those 4 that were called up. And they're probably right.
What a start to tonight's battle.
That probably still say 93 was my best shape because I had no injuries and stuff, but 95 was very good and the condition was great, and I think my back was better than it was in 93. It was more details and stuff, maybe because I do more machine work. So yeah, I was happy with 95.
And your posing was also improved. I remember you used that routine. You sort of brought in the OJ trial because you had that Judge Ito at the beginning. So your posing was more entertaining.
Yeah, it was more entertaining. I had a good guy that was put interesting music and concepts together with me and everything. So yeah, that was cool at the time because everyone was watching that trial on TV and stuff. So an attempt to be a little amusing.
1994 was a close call for Dorian Yates. He nearly lost the show to Sean Ray. We asked him what his motivation was for 95.
Well, for the show, I've been really motivated because last year, as everybody knows, I had 2 serious injuries. A rotator cuff injury to my shoulder and a bicep tear, which is very severe, and that happened about 8 weeks out from the contest. So my whole training for the contest was very, very restricted, and practically right up to the contest I wasn't really 100% sure whether I'd be able to do enough work to be good enough to enter the contest and win it, so it was kind of really frustrating. I was good enough and I won the contest, but I wasn't happy, I wasn't at my best because of those restrictions in my training. So this year my goal was to come back and show everybody, that I could achieve the condition that I had before. Not only that, improve on that. So that was my goal for this year.
100% guilty of terminating the competition, Frank.
Well, he's the man that would know. He looks like he has the ability to do it tonight. Very aggressive attitude he has this year as compared to last year. He knows he's at his best. Sort of similar to how Linda Murray felt in her attitude about winning. Really motivated to come back because of not being satisfied with the previous year's showing. And you got to use all the motivation you can get from situations, and both of them have certainly been able to do it. There's that famous back again. Wow, with all that muscle. Yates is a bodybuilder who lets his body speak for itself. No fancy choreography, just all pure muscle shots. He's really playing up that back strength he has. Make sure everybody gets a good look at that.
Definitely back, isn't he, Frank?
He sure is. Good presentation. And a lot of muscle.
We'll be back with more of the Mr. Olympia. Nasser El Sonbaty, Vince Taylor, Chris Cormier,
Gentlemen, quarter turn to the right.
Sean Ray, Dorian Yates, Kevin Levrone.
Quarter turn to the right.
The top bodybuilders in the world, Frank, and what are the judges looking for right here? Their last chance, I guess.
Right, just making some final comparisons. They pretty well have in mind how it's going to turn out, but just making sure now.
Front double bicep.
Yeah, things could change. You know, they're a bit more dehydrated now than they were earlier, and they're showing a bit more muscularity, and for some that could be significant.
Well, there have been 9 champions of the Mr. Olympia. Could we have a 10th tonight? Could there be a surprise? And who might that be?
Well, you never know what's going to happen until it happens.
Turn to the rear.
Everybody has their favorites,
One leg back,
of course.
showing the calf. Double bicep.
A lot of muscle up there.
And how about Vince Taylor? Took a few years off from the Olympia in the top 6.
He just keeps getting better.
Relax. Side tricep.
This is such hard work, Joe. It's like you've run a marathon the day after the show. Everything's sorer than it's ever been.
Well, it's been a long night, and I imagine that... What are you running on here? You've been in this spot before.
Stored body fat. I mean, all the glycogen is used up. And, you know, unless your electrolyte balance is just right on, you could cramp up from tensing the muscles for such long periods of time. It's happened.
Nasser to get in between Sean and Dorian.
Here we go. Nasser moving in between Sean Ray and Dorian Yates.
Well, that undoubtedly means something.
Front double bicep.
And the fans here are just loving it. We've got a sellout crowd here at the Civic Center Auditorium in downtown Atlanta. As many of you know, Atlanta, a hotbed for bodybuilding. This is Lee Haney's hometown, the 8-time Mr. Olympia. They're getting a great show tonight.
Side chest.
Now, Nasser El Sonbaty looks outstanding in the first 3 compulsory poses, the front double bicep, front lat spread, and the side chest pose.
Rear double bicep.
Really holds his own with those. But now is where it breaks down a little bit, because we have some outstanding backs up there. Levrone and Yates and Sean Ray this year, and Vince Taylor, just incredible backs.
Lat spread.
And who has the widest lat spread here?
Well, the muscles are different shaped. When you look at Levrone, you see the deltoid sticking way out. Yates has that incredible thickness.
Triceps.
You know, Sean Ray doesn't have an easy time up there. He probably weighs around 200 for this contest, and he's standing next to somebody 70 pounds heavier than him.
Incredible.
Yet he comes off looking very, very good because he's so developed. He's in such good shape.
Gentlemen, relax. And if the music man's ready, pose down.
The pose down at the Mr. Olympia.
Sounds more like a Mardi Gras.
Horns blaring.
At this point, I don't see a lot of spark up there. I mean, these guys are worn out.
Well, just the excitement of still being there, still standing next to Dorian must motivate you, must keep you alive, must keep you breathing.
Well, they're doing their best.
And of course, these guys were backstage when they saw the previous Mr. Olympias come on the stage, and there was a swirl backstage with the bodyguards surrounding Arnold. It's just been a wild scene on the stage tonight.
Joe, that was a great experience for me being up there with those guys. Only 9 Olympians in 30 years. It's hard to believe, and I feel really fortunate at having been one of them. And now tonight we're going to see if there's going to be a 10th, or if Dorian Yates is going to reign and be Mr. Olympia again for the 4th time. He's got a lot going for him. I think he's going to do it.
Well, certainly Dorian looks so much better than a year ago.
He looks very confident, too. I mean, not that he always doesn't look confident. If there's one guy that's sure of himself, it's Dorian. But I think he knows he's got it tonight.
And this is an amazing top 6. Really, there are a few guys who could win this show.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And we'll be back to crown the champion after this break.
Gentlemen, please file off the stage. Down a little bit to the left, gentlemen.
Joe Amato with Frank Zane. Frank, a former 3-time Mr. Olympia. We are watching the 1995 Mr. Olympia.
6th place, a check of $12,000 being presented by Jack Baraka of Mastercare. And the certificate being presented by John Gutierrez of Jaguar. And those awards will be presented to competitor number 7, Chris Cormier.
2 years in a row, 6th place for Chris Cormier.
Yes, he beat a lot of good guys, you know. Judging from who's standing there, I think that's a good call. Chris has a bright future.
Chris Cormier, 6th place.
Great shape tonight.
Fifth place, a check of $15,000 being presented by Bubba Hacka of Muscle Master. And the certificate being given by Bill Kazmaier of Panada. Those awards will be presented to competitor number 2, Vince Taylor.
Vince looked like he knew he had 5th. And he's happy to get it. He knows the caliber of the people that he finished ahead of, and he's grateful.
Checking the fine print on the check.
Vince Taylor, 5th place.
Great return to the Olympia by Vince Taylor.
4th place, a check of $25,000 being presented by Art Gutierrez of Advanced Free Weight Systems. and a certificate being given by Mitchell Bobrow of Otomics. And those awards will be given to competitor number 8, Sean Ray.
Wow.
Now there's a surprise.
And you can see it on Sean's face. Very disappointed.
Sean thought he was in there for the in the running for the title. And getting fourth is a big disappointment to him, especially in light of the shape he's in.
Second a year ago, fourth this year.
Sean Ray, 4th place.
Well, it just goes to show you how hard it is for a smaller guy to win it.
Now the last three, Kevin Levrone, Dorian Yates, Nasser El Sonbaty.
In 3rd place, a check of $30,000 being presented by Dave Hawk of Cybergenics. And the certificate being given by Joe Babick of Cybergenics. The bronze Mr. Olympia medal being given by Mike Ryan of Gold's Gym. And the bronze Sandow medal being given by Greg Perkins of Egg Beaters. And those awards go to competitor number 1, Nasser El Sonbaty.
Well, a bit of disagreement by the crowd. You know, I think this vote by the judges is an indication of the trend that bodybuilding continues to move in, away from shape definition and balance proportion toward sheer mass. And I know that some people are disappointed by that, but when you get 270 pounds of muscle standing next to you at about 5'9", it's just really hard to stay on the same stage as that. And that's, I think, what Sean Ray found to overcome him tonight. I can't say I go along with this decision, but he is a very good winner.
7th a year ago, 3rd tonight, and now Kevin Levrone's heart must be thumping. Could he knock off Dorian Yates? Dorian, I'm sure, thinking that he has won this show. But for Kevin, the top American bodybuilder,
a check of $50,000 being presented by Will and Norm Dabish of Powerhouse Gyms. The silver Mr. Olympia medal being given by John Oliva of Twin Lab. The silver Sandow medal being given by Peter Parsons of American Bodybuilding Products. And the certificate being given by Amy Fodley of EAS. And that award goes to competitor number 18, Kevin Levrone.
And Yates has done it again.
4 straight Olympia titles for Dorian Yates. Kevin Levrone, the runner-up.
Kevin looks a little disappointed, but he has $50,000. I mean, how unhappy can you be with that?
Full-blown Kevin Levrone, and that puts him, no doubt, he is the top American bodybuilder right now. And in just a moment, the audience will go crazy for Dorian Yates.
Kevin Levrone, 2nd place.
Well, he did his very best, and that's all you can do.
And the winner for the 4th year in a row, receiving the largest check in bodybuilding history to date, $110,000. The gold Sandow medal, the gold Olympia medal, the Mr. Olympia certificate, and the Sandow statue, all being presented by Dr. Scott Connolly, Joe Weider, Ben Weider, Raphael Santoka, and Pamela Kagan, to Dorian Yates.
And Dorian wins it all. 4th Mr. Olympia, in the best shape of his life, and a great comeback after having a bad year last year.
Scott Connolly from Metrex on the stage, joined by Joe Weider and Ben Weider.
And Raphael Santoka.
And all hail Dorian Yates, Mr. Olympia for 1995. And much like Linda Murray, had that terminating presentation tonight. We'll be back to talk with Kevin and Dorian after this break. And we are back on the Olympia stage with our champion. The 4th year in a row he has won the Mr. Olympia title. Dorian, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know last year you did have problems. You won the show. What was your goal this year?
My goal was to come back from last year. You know, I had a lot of injury problems, and people were thinking, well, maybe I'm finished, or maybe I could never achieve the condition that I had before. So there's a lot of doubt, and that negativity actually spurred me on to come back and prove to everybody that I could get back in that condition and in fact improve on it. So a few modifications in my training and a whole year injury-free training, and that was the result.
Well, there's no doubt anymore. Frank, go ahead.
Dorian, I think you look the greatest of your career, and I'm just wondering how much more you can improve, and what are your plans for improving, and you're going to be back next year?
Well, I think the answer to that is we really don't know until you explore the boundaries. You never know. Once you say to yourself, well, this is as good as I can get, or this is as big as I can get, or this is as fast as I can run, then that's going to be the reality of it. So every year I just strive to get better and better. This year, instead of working on just purely on muscle mass as I was doing in the past, I changed my training a little bit. I was working more on quality and things like that. So I think I've improved my shape and definition.
I have to agree with that. I never saw you looking better, and that it really paid off for you, and I think that's really the right approach for you. I mean, how much bigger can you get? I mean,
it gets to a point where it becomes self-defeating, you know, exactly. Once you get to a certain size. I'm not saying I can't get a little bigger, but that's not really now the main priority.
Dorian, do you think it was your greatest night, the greatest you've ever looked?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, last year, as I said, I wasn't at my best. Previous to that, 93 was my best year. But I think this year I had all the mass that I had in 93. I had the condition, in fact, probably better condition, and along with better overall symmetry and more detail.
Great. Congratulations, Dorian. Mr. Olympia for 1995. And now for Frank Zane and our entire ESPN crew.
So then we go to 96, and this goes to Chicago. The Olympia's in Chicago.
Yeah.
And they did diuretic testing, which was the big thing, because Nasser was originally in 3rd, and that was his first really big year, I think, right, in 96.
Was Nasser in 3rd or 2nd? Yeah, he was 3rd, yeah.
Yeah, and Sean was 2nd. And then Nasser ended up failing the diuretic test after the contest was over, right?
Yeah, and I knew there was a diuretic test, and that's why I kind of took the decision to like try and come in like super shredded.
Yeah.
Because I could do that without using diuretics.
Yeah.
So I dropped down probably a little bit too much, but you know, the details were probably more than before, but I lost a little fullness and, you know, lost a little powerful look, I guess.
Yeah.
If you see on the internet, there's a Grand Prix a week later, German Grand Prix, and I ate up a lot for that one, and that's, you know, one of my favorite conditions as well. That was very good. It was probably up like 6 to 8 pounds from the Olympia and still in the same kind of condition.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling 1900 pump selector code. For operator Yates, please press 0. For front lat spread, please press 1. For signature code, please press 2. For back lat spread, please press 3. Any questions? Please check yourself in. www.yatesmrolympia.com.
So yeah, a little flat for that one, but again, you know, I think it was still a clear enough win.
Yeah, well, obviously I've been concentrating on, again, preparing for the Mr. Olympia and hopefully trying to improve the package from last year. I think since became Mr. Olympia, I've changed a lot. It's made me a lot more confident and outgoing in other areas of my life. You know, if I can win Mr. Olympia, then I can do this, I can do that in different areas of my life, and obviously spending a lot of time traveling around the world, meeting different people with different outlooks. It expands your outlook as well. So I think, you know, I've changed a lot in the last 5 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates.
Thank you for calling 1-900 pump selector pose. For operator Yates, please press 0. For front lat spread, please press 1. For signature pose, please press 2. For back lat spread, please press 3. For random access, please press the star key.
How'd you feel about Nasser? Because he came up pretty quick, and he looked fantastic from the front. Real good legs, good abs.
He looked great in 96, and some poses from the front, he definitely looked better than me. He looked really great with the relaxed from the front, because he had these real square abs and good legs. And he looked very good in that pose, and in the double biceps from the front as well. He looked very good. So for sure, he had made a couple of poses, but you know, it's about the majority over 11 poses.
Yeah.
You know, and from the side, I still had more thickness because I got quite a lot of depth through the side from the back, and of course from the back, you know, Nasser was pretty weak from the back, at least in the upper body. You know, lower body was pretty strong, but his back was weak and always a bit watery down the bottom, so he lost out on that area.
Yeah.
But 97, it was much closer, I think.
Mm-hmm. Ready, pose down.
Place, receiving a check for $12,000 being presented by Gary Sachs of Universal and D. Monray of Giant Killer. And that award will be presented to Paul Dillette. In fifth place, receiving a check of $15,000 and a certificate being presented by Jim Valone of Global Nutrition and Ed Connors of Gold's Gym. And they will take those awards to Flex Wheeler, in 4th place, receiving a check of $25,000 and a certificate, being presented by Ken Lucas of Strive and John Gutierrez of Jaguar. And those awards will be given to Kevin Levrone, in 3rd place, receiving a check of $30,000, a certificate, a bronze Mr. Olympia medal, and a bronze Sandow medal, being presented by Jeff Pell of Weider Nutrition, David Simpoli of Designer Protein, Steve Ward of Champion Nutrition, and Tom Profit of Hammer Strength. And they will take these awards and give them to Nasser El Sonbaty. In 2nd place, receiving a check of $50,000, a certificate, the Silver Mr. Olympia medal, and the Silver Sandow medal, being presented by Keith Angelin of Metrics, Will Davish of Powerhouse, Mitchell Barbro of Otomics, and Donald Fisher of Epicure Cream. They will take these awards to the 2nd place winner, Sean Ray. And in first place, receiving a check of $110,000, the standout statue and the gold medal, being presented by Joe Weider and Rudy Panada, Dorian Yates.
Yeah, so let's talk about '97. That was ended up being your last year, but you had I didn't realize how bad that injury was to your tricep until I reread your book this week, The Warrior Story, and Peter was talking about how you tore that tricep tendon, and man, that was an incredible thing you had to go through.
The tricep injury was far worse than the bicep injury.
Yeah.
Because the bicep injury aesthetically didn't look good, but the tendon didn't detach or anything. And actually, after about 6 weeks, wasn't a huge difference in the strength, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the tricep, I was having severe inflammation, like year round with my left elbow.
Okay.
And really, the wise thing to have done now, looking back, would have been to take a couple of months off earlier in the year and really work on this and get the scar tissue down and do whatever minimal light training to get it really healthy and then start pushing again. But I don't, you're Mr. Olympia 5 times and everybody's on your ass chasing you. And Nasser's coming up, it's getting closer, and I don't really feel I had that time. And it wasn't my personality anyway. I just want to push all the time,
Yeah.
And when you're young, you think you're indestructible, although at that point I was learning pretty quick that I wasn't.
Right.
So I had inflammation, tendonitis, and I had to ice it after training. I was taking aspirin and all kind of stuff just to try and get through the training. Then I went to see somebody who was actually a surgeon. He worked for a soccer team in the UK. I mean, there was nobody in the UK at the time. I don't know if there is now, but nobody that's used to dealing with strength athletes and injuries and things like that. I mean, if you're a soccer player and you got a knee injury, there's some great guys there, but that's all we had, right? So I went to see this guy, and he advised me to have a cortisone shot in the tendon, which would take the immediate inflammation down, and get me through the last, I think it was about 5 weeks out that I did this, 5 or 6 weeks out. And then after the contest, he said, we'll address it, and you might have to have a little surgery to got scar tissue all around your tendon, and from micro traumas over the years. And train. You need to cut back on the train a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's how did I interpret that? Cut back on the train a little bit. It's like, all right, so I'm not going to incline 440. I'll do 400 then. That's like a compromise for me,
Right.
So, I was still training pretty heavy, and I think it was 3 weeks out. It was real near to the contest, and I was doing like an old-fashioned pullover and press with the cambered bar.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't particularly heavy, but I guess the tendon wasn't in good shape.
Yeah.
And then, I know now. A cortisone injection is just going to further weaken the tissues. It's catabolic, So it takes inflammation down. You don't feel your problem anymore.
Right.
But now further weakened the structure that's already weakened,
Right.
So it was bad advice that I got. And boom. The most intense pain and a noise that, echoed around the gym. Like everyone heard it.
Wow.
Bam.
Wow.
And then I was like, just cold shock. Physical and mental, like not again, and like there's, you get a big one like that, a bicep or a tendon injury. It's not like, oh wow, how do you just know that's a fucking major injury. That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's all numb and swollen. I remember getting home and just trying to like do this, just like move it. Wouldn't, the signal from the brain was going, but it wouldn't even move.
Wow.
I think the tendon's totally come off because there's no movement there. Yeah. By the next day, I could move it. But what I really needed was an MRI scan, just the extent of the injury.
Yeah.
But the MRI machines we had in England were the closed ones, like a tunnel.
Yeah.
And shoulders were so big and wide, I couldn't fit in this machine.
Oh, wow.
And they had no open MRIs at the time in UK, so
yeah.
I didn't know until I got to New York a week before the Olympia what was going on there exactly. And they told me it's like 95% or more of the tendon has detached. There's very little attachment to the bone, and to just be really careful. And I wasn't training at all for those last 3 weeks. I was only doing cardio and sticking to my diet. I wasn't training. I wasn't even posing. I wasn't even practicing my posing the way I used to because I was scared, that I could pull the tendon or something.
Yeah.
So, very much less than ideal preparations for the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah. And you also you had trouble with your stomach too, right? Because of all the aspirin you were taking? I totally forgot about that.
Out from the contest, I had stomach bleeding. I was hospitalized for 2 days and I had a blood transfusion.
Wow.
And, of course, the doctor's asking me what stuff I'm taking, what drugs I'm taking. So I, tell them all the steroids and growth hormone and some aspirin and this other anti-inflammatory that I've been getting from my doctor. So they came back the next day and they're like, right, we know what your problem is. This anti-inflammatory, I don't remember the name of it now, but this anti-inflammatory, how long have you been taking this? I said, well, like about 2 years because I get pain in my shoulder and when I stop, I get pain again. So my doctors just give me a repeat thing. I don't even go and see them. I just go and they give me the thing,
Yeah.
And they're like, right, well, this is the most irritable to the stomach lining.
Oh, wow.
You should never be on this, according to this guide, never more than 3 weeks in a row. So, I mean, if I was in the States, I'd probably be suing this doctor for my millions for, my livelihood. But
right.
It doesn't work like that in the UK. And to be honest, I was just so focused on the contest, I didn't even think about it. I remember being in the hospital and asking the doctor, like, man, when can I get out, man? I need to go to the gym, I need to train and get ready for a contest.
Yeah.
And he had to take my ex-wife aside and talk to her and say, listen, you need to speak to your husband because, he's just in a life-threatening situation right now, and he's asking me when he can go to the gym. So, But I was sitting there in the hospital, and she brought in my food in boxes, and I was staying on my diet, wasn't eating the hospital food, all that shit.
Wow.
And a few days later, I got out of there, and after the blood transfusion, but they were doing blood tests on me every week, getting ready for Olympia, and my hemoglobin levels were still not back to like where they should be, even by the time the contest rolled around. So, who knows what physical effects that have on your, condition and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I had two things getting ready for that contest, and before those two things even happened, I was thinking I'm not really enjoying this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to feel like a job, and I never wanted to feel like that. I'm going to lose my passion. I don't know how long I'm going to do, and this may be my last one. Anyway, I didn't know, but maybe that things have been different. I won it. I would have been,
Yeah.
I mean, another one. I don't know, but I was not. I was feeling like that. I'm not really enjoying this now, and I feel like I should be doing something else with my life.
Right.
Well, I don't know, but that was starting to have those thoughts,
Yeah. And when you got to the contest, you said you were afraid to even hit that side tricep post because you thought that 10 was probably going to rip.
Somebody's going to bang, on the double biceps. Sometimes the elbow was banging and stuff like that. So, all these things meant that mentally I was not the same person that I normally was.
Yeah.
And mentally I was just like a turbocharger, of positivity that people could feel and see and, generate. I was just generated because that's how I felt. But this time I felt vulnerable, I felt weak, I felt, just didn't feel the same. So it was a very tough one,
Yeah.
And, Nasser looked great, looked better than the year before, and for sure, some poses beat me on, but mathematically, I can still see how I came ahead,
Yeah, yeah.
The way I approach the contest is Dorian Yates against Dorian Yates of last year. And that's what I'm trying to beat. I'm trying to beat the Dorian Yates of last year rather than thinking about beating other people, which basically I have no control over. So that's my competition, you know, trying to better last year's model, so to speak. I believe I was around 256, and this year I'm around 268, and the same hard conditions. So it's really, you know, at this level I think I made a tremendous improvement. Training for the contest, I would be up first thing in the morning, doing aerobics, which would be stationary cycling or treadmill, something like that. And then I would eat, take a little rest, maybe take my dogs out for a walk. And then I would drive to the gym, go to the gym, do the training there, come back again, eat and rest a little bit more. And then in the evening would be posing, practicing posing for the stage presentation, more aerobic training, eating again, and then usually in the evening I try to just relax and spend time with, you know, with my wife and my son, and try and take it easy and get away from it all. When I first became a pro, it was an aspect that I was really comfortable with, or that even appealed to me. I was really more or less looking at it from an athletic point of view, where the training in the gym, the actual physical work, was the thing that appealed to me, and the end product, the physique, the actual presentation wasn't something that I was really comfortable with, and it's something I realised as a professional that I had to work on that in order to, you know, to be at the best. So I spent a lot of time in the last 5 or 6 years really working on that, and we tried to come up with something original as far as the music and the presentation every year. And I got something again this year that's a little bit different. I think we all get bored, you know, with the guys posing to the same music, hitting the same poses and stuff like that. So I try and keep it as entertaining as I can.
In second place, receiving a check from Steve Stern of Bodyonics Pinnacle. And the medals being presented by Vasil Luchev of Sofama of Bulgaria. The award presenters will come up on stage. They will present those awards to Nasser El Sonbaty. And in first place, receiving a check, Sandow statue, the gold Mr. Olympia medal, the gold Sandow medal and a certificate being presented by Rudy Panada of Panada Sport, for metrics, Dr. Scott Connolly and Kevin Eubanks, Joe Weider, Ben Weider, Richard Bizzarro of the Weider Company, six-time Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates.
So looking back over your career, Dorian, of any contest, what was the one you think you had the most satisfaction winning? Whether it was an Olympia or any other one?
I got to go for 93 Olympia.
Yeah.
Although my first IFBB contest as an intermediate is also memorable.
Yeah,
because
first win.
Not only did I win the contest and got invited by the Federation to be in the World Games, I remember the contest promoter. There was another trophy. It was the trophy for the best physique of the day of all the contests. Yeah. So I won that, and I remember the promoter of the contest taking me on stage and saying, you know, we've had this town. Is a town with entertainment because it's by the seaside in England.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, in this town we've had a lot of famous people and this and that, and I want everybody in the audience to remember this day with this guy on stage, because this guy is going to go on to be something very special.
Wow.
So I remember that, you know.
Yeah.
So that one and the 93 Olympia, because the 93 Olympia was like, you know, it was something new for the sport. It was new standards as far as conditioning combined with size and proportion and so on. So those two across my career stand out, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wanted to ask you something because you had such a warrior mentality about, you know, getting ready for these shows and really pushing yourself to the limit. They've got Kai Green now, and hasn't gone to the Olympia in a couple of years, and he's been invited this year. What would you say to Kai Green if you could give him advice? Because he's really at his peak still, and he has a chance of beating Phil Heath, but he's decided again, I think, to sit it out. What would your advice be to someone like him?
Well, I don't know why he's sitting out. He has his reasons. But I think it would be fair to say that he's the only one that could beat Phil. I don't really see anyone else that close to it. And I think I probably did say this to Kai at one time, that if he brought his body weight down and just concentrate on coming in maybe 15 pounds lighter and like super shredded, then he would have a chance of doing it. But he always tries to come in too heavy, I believe, and it doesn't. It's not to his benefit, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, why not, man? Mr. Olympia is Mr. Olympia still.
Yeah.
You know, still the #1 title, and that's what history remembers, man.
Yeah,
you know.
I know.
If that's the bodybuilding fan, who won Mr. Olympia in this year? You know, 84, right? They're going to tell you it's Lee Haney.
Right.
It's the Arnold Classic in 84. I don't know. Yeah.
Right.
You know. Right. You know, it's still a great contest, and the prize money is the same, but the history is not the same. You know, no one remembers that.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Mr. Olympia's history, and would be great to get your name in the history books, but hey, he's his own man. He makes his own decisions. You know?
Yeah. When you were competing, which guys did you think were really your biggest challenge, or did you think you were just on your own level?
Well, physically, potentially, I respected Flex's physique, and I saw what he achieved while giving less than 100%, shall we say.
Yeah.
So I knew that, like, if he had my mentality, then I would really have a hard time and he'd probably beat me.
Mm-hmm.
I also knew that he didn't.
Yeah.
So therefore, I wasn't really worried. Kevin was good. Kevin was great. But I just didn't feel that his physique was quite flowed like Flex's, and there was a few areas that was a bit weak. So, I didn't feel that he would be able to beat me, unless I was off, man. But very, very off or something. But chances of thing, it only happened twice, a little bit because I was injured. So in normal circumstances, it wasn't happening because I had my game plan. I knew what I was doing,
Yeah. How about Sean and Lee Labrada and Nasser?
Nasser was looking very impressive in '96 and definitely got my attention.
Yeah.
Like, wow, where did that come from, Because he really poured that year. And '97 as well. Yeah. '97 was, me and Nasser in '97 was the closest of all my competitions. But that, I was, kind of be on my way out anyway.
Right.
So earlier on, it would have been Kevin and Flex. And Sean, Sean is a great bodybuilder and always he came in shape and everything. But I just felt that I would always be able to overpower him, He wasn't wide enough, he wasn't big enough.
Yeah. Well, I think you dominated in an era when it was probably the best bodybuilders of all time. I mean, the 90s is highly regarded as, the greatest talent. And you won 6 straight Mr. Olympia, so that's got to feel fantastic, right?
Yeah, man. It's like, you could win 20 now and probably wouldn't match that because of the depth of the quality of the guys that were there. And that time, everyone was hungry and training hard and really pushing and going for it. I just don't see that spirit anymore. It seems as if the guys are not even interested in training. Everyone just does the same thing and pumps up, and no original thought out there or anything in regards to training or even nutrition. I don't see really any of the guys saying much because they all got coaches that do all that stuff for them.
Yeah, I know.
So that a lot of the stuff that I loved about the sport is not there anymore. But, nothing stays the same forever, so I don't want to sound like an old geezer saying the things that are in my day,
Right. Yeah,
so,
and you're right on about the training, too. I mean, when you go into the gyms now, I mean, back when we were training in the 80s and 90s, it was all small, hardcore gyms, and everybody trained super hard. And now you got these bigger corporate gyms, and like you said, everybody's just maintaining. Nobody's really training that hard. Nobody's pushing themselves.
It's not an environment where hard training is even encouraged. In fact, it's actively discouraged.
Discouraged, right.
You don't want to train too hard and make noise and stuff because you might scare the old lady over the other side of the gym.
Join! And join. That's the one! Join you! Good! Good! That's good. Join it up! Let's go! Let's keep! Join! Again! Oh, yes! Strength! Yeah! Come on, blow in! That's good! Come on! Yes! Business as usual, man! Come on! Get in! That's still you! Let's go again!
Right.
Which, I just think that's bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
I think everybody should be able to train in the gym together, whether they're an advanced professional athlete or an old retired lady.
Yeah.
Like, what's that? You're all chasing your goals. What's the problem here,
Right.
I think just the business people behind the concept that have got this idea. So I love, anybody that goes to the gym, I have respect for them. And that's the way it is. Everyone should be able to train together. And there are some gyms like that. Steve's gym in New York. You got all the best bodybuilders going there, football players, everything. And then, got your regular people who can be inspired and pick up off on the energy that they can get by, seeing people like that training, man. Even if it's just a bit of, hey, like, I feel like, look at these guys. You're going to get,
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's energy, man. You know?
Yeah.
And a good gym should have that energy. You should walk into that place and feel like you want to train. And that's what I created at Temple Gym. Like, every single person that stepped down those steps is like, first of all, there's nothing else to do down there because it's just packed with equipment. There's no space to really hang out much.
Right.
But it had that atmosphere, that was what it was. It was a place where hard work was done.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why you're still so respected today, Dorian, because you really showed that warrior mentality and you trained so hard. And like I said at the beginning of the interview, you redefined bodybuilding because you brought it up another level. You had more size with that super hard conditioning that was never seen before, especially from the back, as you said. And I think that's why even today, 20 years after your career, people are still respecting you. The hardcore bodybuilders still respect you.
Yeah, I believe so. And maybe even some of the physique guys.
Yeah.
Listen, it's like physique guy, fucking CrossFit. I don't care, man. If you're going to the gym and you're working out, more power to you. I got respect for you, whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right, Dorian. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this interview. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. It was a great pleasure
I
to talk
just
to you.
want to say one thing. I just want to shout out something I'm involved in now that's called Super League.
Oh, yeah.
Super League Live. It's not a bodybuilding contest, but it's a competition, and it's for physique athletes and powerlifters and so on.
Okay.
It's a set of exercises and a physique scan, which will take me too long to really explain. So if you go to Super League Live, it's all there. And our first contest is in July 29th in Vegas. So going to be there, and we've got a great lineup of athletes. And I think it's something new, something exciting. And there's no judges. You either lift the weight or you don't lift the weight. And the physique scan has got certain ratios, which you can read on the website. So, when I was competing, I always thought that's the thing that's missing. When we're on stage and people are looking, they just see the physique, but they don't see all that work that goes in there. They don't appreciate how strong and how athletic some of the guys are and so on. So now we're going to see that, and we're going to see some real freaky strong guys coming through, I think, on this. So it's, it's something new for people to do.
What kind of lifts? What kind of lifts are they going to be doing?
Sorry?
What kind of lifts are they going to be doing?
They're going to be doing 8 different exercises
for
all different body parts, from pull downs, chest press, shoulder press, squat machine. We've had all machines because we want to keep the safety factor there, and we're not trying to compete with weightlifting or powerlifting or CrossFit. So they're all bodybuilding exercises on machines, and it's something, if you see somebody doing, one of these guys doing a pull down, you can go to the gym the next day and try and do it yourself.
Yeah.
As I said, I think that was missing. It was like, especially for the general public, they just see this image.
Yeah.
But, what does it take to get there? So now this competition kind of reveals that. And, I think it's going to be exciting visually. It's going to be live on bodybuilding.com.
Oh, really? Okay.
We've got Nike sponsoring. We've got some other people coming in to sponsor. And I think it's got real potential to take off and be international.
Okay.
So 29th July is the first one.
What's the website again, Dorian?
Super League Live.
Super League Live. Okay.
Super League Live. All the rules are on there, and all the info about the contest and so on. And I'll be there, and various other personalities, and look forward to seeing people there, July 29th.
Okay. Well, good luck with that. I hope that takes off for you. I think that's a great idea.
All right, man. Thanks, John.
Okay, Dorian. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes. Thanks for having me on. Good night.
All right, buddy. Take care.